Tonight, Toronto police have a man in custody wanted for throwing feces on unsuspecting victims. The 23-year-old man is facing multiple charges of assault with a weapon. That weapon, a bucket of fecal matter thrown at strangers on 3 separate occasions. Plus,
well, it disgusts me. Like it's repulsive.
Durham's police chief emotional and disgusted by a Facebook post shared by ex-officers. And residents displaced by a fatal fire 2 weeks ago have only a few days to find new accommodations. What's next for the residents of Gosford Boulevard? Good evening, I'm Mike Wise. Toronto police making an arrest tonight in connection with a series of disgusting assaults involving feces being thrown on several victims. Police arrested 23-year-old Samuel Opoku this evening around 6 o'clock, picking him up near Queen and Spadina. He's facing charges in connection with 3 incidents. Last Friday, police say a man took a bucket of liquefied fecal matter into Robarts Library at U of T and threw it on a woman and a child. On Sunday, a man repeated that attack, this time against a man and a woman at the Scott Library at York University. Then late last night, a 3rd attack, a man throwing a bucket of fecal matter at a woman near College and McCall, just south of U of T. Opoku is facing 5 counts of assault with a weapon and 5 counts of mischief. He'll make a court appearance tomorrow morning. An Ontario Special Investigations Unit is looking into a shooting in Mississauga this afternoon. The suspect in a bank robbery was rushed to hospital with a gunshot wound. Here's an update from the SIU.
The officers made their way to the HSBC Bank located in the Mississauga Chinese Centre at 888 Dundas Street East. Soon after officers entered the bank, there was an interaction with a male person. One officer discharged his firearm and the male was struck. He was taken to hospital where he underwent surgery. He is there in stable condition. At this time, we have 6 investigators and 2 forensic investigators assigned to the case. We are asking anyone with any information, including any video evidence, to contact us.
The SIU adds there were about 10 bank employees inside at the time. Police say they are currently not looking for any outstanding suspects in this case. Ontario's public school teachers started their Work to Rule campaigns today. After months of negotiations have yielded little progress, at least according to the unions representing elementary and secondary teachers. Lisa Shing has more from the first day of the Work to Rule.
Teachers gather outside this Toronto school to send the province a message. To drive that message home, the province's public, elementary and secondary teachers started their Work to Rule campaign today.
This phase is really focused on applying some pressure onto the Ministry of Education.
We as teachers are looking out for the interests of our students, and I don't know that the government shares those concerns.
They won't complete report cards, but will provide a list of marks. They also won't administer EQAO testing or participate in professional learning outside the school day. Teachers say it won't affect students, and parents are largely supportive.
We know how hard they work, so we want to see them get the respect that they deserve.
I guess if the teachers need to go on strike, they need to go on strike.
A big question for elementary teachers heading into negotiations was whether the province would keep full-day kindergarten. Today, a clear answer from the education minister.
We believe that the model is working, and there's no plan on my desk to change it.
Stephen Lecce says the biggest hurdle is over a 1% cap on wage increases. Teachers say it's class size increases and mandatory e-learning requirements. Recently, the government scaled back on those changes. During question period, the NDP called on Lecce to reverse them completely.
Will this government stop their spin, stop the attacks on teachers and education workers, and reverse their cuts?
Here, here. Our aim under this government is to keep kids in class, to get good deals, as we did with CUPE, that ensure that children's education is never compromised in this province.
Now, both elementary and secondary teachers' unions have talks scheduled for this week. Now, 3 of the 4 unions representing Ontario teachers have moved towards some kind of labor action. Catholic teachers have voted 97% in favor of a strike if necessary, but are not yet in a legal strike position. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Toronto.
Residents displaced by a fatal apartment fire at a building near Jane and Steeles 2 weeks ago have only a few days to find new accommodations. The 5-alarm fire on Gosford Boulevard forced 700 people from their homes. And as Taylor Simmons explains, their emergency shelter supports are about to run out.
The The blaze is still fresh in the minds of many residents forced into shelters, their homes still unsafe.
It's not something that you anticipate like this is going to happen, but it's been more overwhelming as far as not knowing when we'll be able to go back.
700 residents were displaced earlier this month after a 5-alarm fire moved through their building. It started on the 8th floor, killing 1 and injuring 6 others. Dozens of residents have been staying in temporary housing. The only problem, city funding for those spots runs out on Friday.
We're here to just see what's going to happen.
Several of the displaced residents showed up at one of the emergency shelters at York University tonight. They'd heard about a visit from the mayor and wanted answers.
We're working very hard to get them those answers as soon as possible.
The mayor says building management should step in after the emergency support ends. In an email statement this afternoon, they said, "We are working with city officials and the mayor's office on reasonable solutions to address this crisis."
At the end of the day, we're going to be registering with them again tomorrow that they have to take the principal responsibility for this.
Tory says the city may also look at extending some emergency stays, but even residents with insurance say they're facing a tough situation with costly hotel stays.
We're only covered $4,000 for expenses.
This resident had a plea for anyone with an extra room.
Work with the mayor, please. We need somewhere to live. We need consistency in our life. My daughter cries every night because she doesn't have a room. Help us, please. Please, just help. There's so many people in there that need help.
Meantime, the mayor says the city is continuing to assess when residents will be able to go home, but with several burnt-out units and fire damage spread up 16 floors, he doesn't anticipate that for at least a few months. Taylor Simmons, CBC News, Toronto.
Carla Kennedy's here with a first look at the forecast. We got to talk about some wind warnings out there.
Yeah, we sure do. And we've got the mild air in place. That's nice. But this system, as it tracks through, is going to kick up the winds as well. So the wind warnings primarily here, you can see just around southern parts of the Golden Horseshoe down towards the Niagara region where the winds could exceed 90 kilometers an hour, pushing towards 100. However, elsewhere, there are going to be many areas into the special weather statement where we could see 70, 80, even 90 kilometer an hour gusts. Not quite that strong. City of Toronto not included in that, but still we'll be seeing some strong winds, that's for sure. Today into the double digits, an official daytime high of 11 degrees. But here we go with the cloud cover intensifying overnight tonight. A little patchy fog or drizzle certainly possible, but the main rain moves in tomorrow morning and most of it will be through to the early afternoon. Then it gets a little lighter in nature, but we're looking at significant amounts, 10, 15, 20 millimeters certainly possible before it starts to weaken. It's going to take some time, by the way, for those winds to weaken, and we're going to look at that in a little more detail coming up in the show. But just know overnight tonight, 3 degrees is your low and another mild day. That's one of the positive things about tomorrow is that the temperature will be 10 degrees. That's not going to hang in there for much longer, though, Mike. Details coming up.
Okay, thanks, Colette.
You're welcome.
Disgust me. Like it's repulsive.
Shock and disappointment from the police chief in Durham region tonight over an image that was discovered on a private Facebook group made up of current and retired members of the force. This was found at the same time a trial was underway in Pickering for an off-duty police officer and his brother accused of beating a teenager. CBC Toronto obtained a copy of that image, and Shanifa Nasser spoke exclusively to Chief Paul Martin today, and she joins us now. Shanifa.
Mike, I had a chance to sit down with him for close to an hour today to talk about this, and he was visibly emotional, saying this image that was shared doesn't represent the men and women of his force, but says he knows when people see it, it will damage their trust in them. I want to show you that image now. It shows 2 stick figures who appear to be in police uniforms. They're standing over another stick figure with a brown or black face. One is holding a gun, the other a stick, and the caption reads, "My dad is my hero." This was posted in a private Facebook group. It's made up of current and retired members, but it's not an official police page. The person who shared this with us said it was posted around the time of the Devontae Miller trial, the young black man who was allegedly beaten by an off-duty police officer and his brother. I asked the chief today how it made him feel to know that some of his members could think that posting an image like this was okay. Here's what he had to say.
We've worked so hard as a police service to reach out to our community and to create a sense of inclusion, not only within the service, but in the community. It's offensive, it's repulsive.
Yeah. I see you getting emotional. What's going on there?
Well, I think of the reaction of some of my own members and some of the reaction from the community. And I think, you know, in some respects, you think you've made such headway. And something like this comes along and you go, what are people thinking?
No, it's clear this has really struck a nerve with the Chief of Durham Police. So, Shanifa, what do we know about what the force is doing about this?
Well, the chief tells us the post has been taken down. He says the image was created in the U.S. several years ago and was recently posted by a retired member of the force. Now, what we don't know is whether the people who posted it or liked it are active members of the force or if they're retired. What we do know is the chief has launched an investigation. If anyone attached to the post is an active member, he says, there will be disciplinary action. I also spoke today to community members who expressed outrage at this. We'll be staying on this story and we'll bring you their reaction tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, Shanifa.
A Woodbridge man got something he wasn't expecting when he opened up a package before wrapping it up as a Christmas gift. I'm Talia Ricci, and coming up, why the man is glad he checked this art set before giving it to his 8-year-old niece.
Jim Karagianis was back at City Hall today, officially resuming his duties as councillor for Scarborough Agincourt.
Today, I'm back. I want to thank the judge for reinstating me. I'm looking forward to continuing the work that I'm doing for my constituents, done for my constituents for the past 31 years. And, one moment, 1 hour, 1 day at a time.
Yesterday, a court ruled that he could be reinstated. Karagianis was removed from his seat earlier this month for alleged campaign overspending. But yesterday, a judge agreed with Karagianis that the spending was just a clerical mistake in his paperwork. He'll stay on as a councillor while the city conducts a full audit of his expenses. A man in Woodbridge says he still can't believe what he found in a package delivered to his home. Last week, the man ordered a kid's art set for his niece. That art set arrived, and so did some mysterious pills. Talia Ricci has more.
After I opened it up and took it out, something kind of fell out and hit my leg, and this is what I found in the package.
A plastic bag with what appears to be various medications in the same box as an art set that was supposed to be a gift for his 8-year-old niece.
Nonetheless, I was a little concerned at why there was a pill package in a child's toy.
The longtime Amazon Prime member reached out to the company right away. The email response apologized for the mistake and offered to send him a new art set. Solanki says that wasn't really good enough.
It didn't feel like somebody had written it. It's almost like a cookie cutter email that they send out to everybody when there's a package incorrect.
CBC News also reached out to Amazon, but we didn't get a response. We spoke with a pharmaceutical scientist who says it's tough to identify all of the drugs without their packaging, but they appear to be international.
One of them was from definitely from a Vietnamese company, and it looked like another one was an enzyme supplement. But I didn't see any Western medications in there.
Dubin's guesses it was someone's daily medication that accidentally fell into the package. He stresses the importance of storing medications safely and especially keeping them away from kids.
With medication, because children are so much smaller than adults, an adult-sized dose of even vitamins can be harmful to children.
And that's what this uncle was worried about the most, and the reason why he chose to share the experience on social media. He says from now on, he'll be double-checking anything he orders online.
I think what concerns me most is that if I hadn't opened it, maybe I'd given it to my niece and she had opened it thinking, oh, my uncle gave me candy as well with my gift, and she had digested it. What would the consequences been then?
Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
Hopefully she's going to be the face of hope and inspiration and guidance for a lot of other women.
Still ahead, we'll take you on a tour of a new women's shelter built in the name of a woman killed during the Yonge Street van attack. Anne-Marie D'Amico.
The weather update is brought to you by Train, the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train.
Six months into what was just supposed to be a pilot project changing its admission prices, the Art Gallery of Ontario has seen more than 100,000 people sign up as annual pass holders. So now it's decided to go all in. The gallery announcing today that its AGO annual pass program, introduced in May, At least originally slated to last just 1 year as a test, is here to stay. The program offers free admission to all visitors 17 and under. Ages 18 to 25 get free entry by just signing up for an annual pass. Visitors 26 and over can get a $35 annual pass. Here's how some visitors reacted to the news today.
For a 23-year-old, does it make a difference to you what the price is?
Yeah, for sure. Like my age, a lot of kids are in school, right? So they want to come check out the touristy stuff around the city and can't really afford it because it's way up in price or whatever. So you gotta take advantage when you find a deal like this.
It makes it a lot more accessible for me and for, I'm sure, a lot of other people around my age who are trying to juggle school and work and a bunch of other things.
Well, I know like when I see a lot of my friends or like people on social media going to the Mirrors exhibit, that I really wanted to go see it just because I saw it so much online. So I guess just people my age maybe posting about it and just getting the word out there.
That's general admission. Special exhibitions remain an extra charge. Colette Kennedy is back with her extended forecast. Lots of numbers to talk about. The possibility of double-digit temperatures tomorrow, but triple-digit wind speeds as well.
Yeah, we are looking at some significant winds. It's nice to have that mild air in place. Today it came with nice sky conditions as well, and all of that changes as we go into midweek. So we were talking earlier in the show about some of the weather advisories and those areas where there are wind advisories around the Niagara region. That's where it could be triple digits, up to 100-kilometer-an-hour gusts. Yes, rain on Wednesday, some of it going sideways. Even in the GTA, there'll be strong winds. And then we're looking after that at the temperatures falling as we go into Thursday and getting even cooler towards Friday and into the weekend. We'll take a look at that in just a moment here. Let me show you the rain as it's going to be moving in. So tomorrow morning, the morning rush hour likely will be a wet one, especially the later part of it. And then into the later afternoon, things will lighten up. But at times we'll see some heavier rain, and that's why we're looking at the potential for 15 or 20 millimeters with this system. After it moves through and we get into overnight Wednesday to Thursday, a little bit of flurry activity certainly possible as that colder air filters in. Some cloud cover to start things off on Thursday, but then getting into some sunshine along with that cooler air that moves in. The winds will be easing overnight Wednesday into Thursday, but a windy day. Pretty much they'll be not too bad in the morning, but they'll be ramping up. And certainly for southwestern Ontario, you'll be experiencing these strong winds even in the morning hours. Chatham, Kent, bad news there when we have those winds coming in where there's already problems here eroding along the shoreline. Those winds will exceed 70 kilometers an hour. Into the afternoon, they get stronger as we go around over towards the GTA. Hamilton over 50. Toronto at times will see up to 60 kilometers an hour. And you can see later on Wednesday, Hamilton, they ramp up there. And certainly towards St. Catharines, you'll see some even stronger wind gusts. Then finally, those taper off. For your temperatures, very mild into southwestern Ontario overnight tonight with the wet conditions, but then the temperatures, you'll head to highs actually in the morning tomorrow, 10, 12 degrees, and then they'll fall into the afternoon, 4 and 5 degrees as the temperatures fall off. In the GTA, the temperatures are cooler through the overnight as the system's not quite here yet. Winds picking up from the southwest, pushing the numbers up into double digits. Again, tomorrow afternoon, it just will not feel nearly as pleasant as it did today. And there is a look at the colder air then. Gets Arctic as we head into the weekend because Saturday, a real struggle to see the temperature. The high may not even get up to the freezing mark, Mike.
Look at it just fall off the cliff there. Okay, thanks, Colette.
You're welcome.
8 of the 10 people killed in last year's van attack along Yonge Street were women. Anne-Marie D'Amico was one of them. Her family is now turning the pain of their loss into something that'll help women fleeing violence. They've launched a foundation in Anne-Marie's name and are hosting a fundraiser next Tuesday. It'll raise money for a women's shelter being built in North York. Angelina King joined the D'Amico family for a tour.
We wanted to change the narrative and try and build people up, help these women. So it's just a matter of changing what had happened and making the story a positive story.
This is the main entrance to the shelter.
As the D'Amico family sees the progress of the North York Women's Shelter, they're reminded Anne-Marie is always with them.
It's impossible to move on, but at least we can move forward with her. Anything we can do when we speak about the foundation, we just feel connected to my daughter. So it feels that she's moving with us still.
Look at this.
I was going to say, last time we came, these were rickety stairs.
Her brother calls her the full package, known for small acts of kindness and loyalty. A warm and welcoming woman with a great sense of humor who cared deeply about others.
This space will be named after Anne-Marie D'Amico, and this is a very, very special, very important space.
The Anne-Marie D'Amico Foundation will give $1 million to help build and operate a community services hub within the shelter, the first of its kind in Canada. It'll allow women and children who are experiencing violence but not staying in the shelter access services, classes, and a health clinic. Dada Ray says it's safer when everything is in one place.
Because we recognize that the issue is so much bigger than what shelters are able to address alone.
The building is 24,000 square feet and includes a large outdoor space, pet area, and unique rooms for art, exercise, learning, and healing.
There'll be a residence kitchen over there.
Women who've accessed shelters were consulted about every detail, from security and services to lighting and furniture.
We really wanted the space to embody creativity and community and warmth and a place for healing and a place for growth and change and possibility.
There are 17 rooms like this one with 40 beds, but the shelter is only funded to operate 30 right now, and they're already spoken for. It says about 80% of women and children end up getting turned away. Dada Ray says that's because there's only around 300 beds across the city. The hope is that the hub can help alleviate that by empowering women to build a safe life on their own, all in the name of Anne-Marie D'Amico.
Hopefully she's going to be the face of hope and inspiration and guidance for a lot of other women.
The shelter opens in January. Angelina King, CBC News, Toronto.
That is our newscast for tonight. Now looking ahead to tomorrow's Metro Morning, they'll be talking about Black Friday scams. Sure, there are plenty of good deals to be had, but tech columnist Takara Small will look at how scammers are trying to get your attention and what you can do to avoid them. You can listen to that tomorrow just before the 8 a.m. news on CBC Radio 1. I'll see you back here tomorrow night on CBC Television at 11. Good night.